Hey everybody, it's Pastor Siri. I'm a Lutheran pastor and a spiritual seeker, and today I wanted to share a different kind of video with you. Every once in a while when I'm driving, I will get a rush of information coming to me, and sometimes I will take out my phone and record myself as I'm speaking that information out loud. And that happened to me today, and I actually want to share that video with you. You see, I've been having some frustration in some of the spiritual teachers that I'm following in the way that they talk about the ego, and it just wasn't jiving with my own experience, and I wanted to piece it out, and I finally sort of figured out what I wanted to teach and what I believe about this. So I'm sharing with you my insight. I hope it's helpful for you. If you've sort of heard about the ego or wanted to know how to heal and how to continue on in your spiritual journey, maybe this will be a little bit helpful for you. So take a listen. Having some thoughts about the ego and about healing. And I'm reading a book currently right now that is really triggering a lot of little parts inside of me because she's talking about the ego. Like, the ego is this part that we all have. Like, we all have an ego. And the ego's immature, and the ego just wants to survive. And so it's tricky, and it's manipulative, and it shapeshifts into different ways in which it can survive. And it doesn't know a life outside of itself. Which to some degree these things are true, but my problem is I feel like we're lumping so many things in this umbrella called the ego in a way that I think is, well, it's triggering my part. So here's my breakdown. Underneath all of us, we have a true self. We have a core self that is connected through some spiritual umbilical cord to our higher self, to heaven, to God, consciousness, universe, the whole kit and caboodle. Beautiful. And then for some reason, we have these parts inside of us. We have, I'm not entirely sure why, but we come in with a personality structure, which I believe is a way for us to learn to navigate this planet. And the personality structure also, because we come in with no memory of anything before, we're literally just absorbing what we see here, which is a worldview of a combination of love, fear, chaos, stability, all of this stuff. Our little souls, our sweet little souls, are trying to figure out, how can I be loved and worthy and safe and okay in this scary planet? Because even if you've had a really good upbringing, lovely parents, you cannot help but experience some of the bad parts of this world. Even though I had a good family and I had loving parents and I was exposed to like the best parts of religion, I still had moments of pain in my childhood and moments where I was bullied, misunderstood. I had moments of fear. I had moments in which I felt really unworthy. And so our little, we form these parts, and in IFS language, we get these managers, right? And there are parts of us that say, I am going to take on the work of making us okay in this world. And depending on our personality, they have a different set of instructions. So for me, in the Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 3, which means my manager part said, I know what we can do in this big, scary world. We will make you worthy and lovable by making you competent, by making you smart. And my goodness, thank God for these wonderful manager parts. You know, they got us through school. They got us with straight A's. They got us, cum laude or whatever, graduating summa cum laude. They had me with a drive to work hard, to do all these great things. And they have their limitations, these sweet little parts, but they were literally doing the best they could to keep me safe in a world. There are other parts, again, IFS, internal family systems, that were protectors. That the minute I got hurt as a little kid, the minute I got hurt, these other parts stepped in and said, all right, I'm going to protect that wounded little part of you that's carrying this burden of fear and shame and guilt. And so you get this whole system inside of you that's working the best that it can to help you survive in this planet. And it's a combination of carrying burdens and limiting beliefs that are not true, but they were what you imported from a world at your age. You know, a 3-year-old understands the world in one way differently from a 13-year-old and from a 30-year-old. And we don't always upgrade our beliefs and thinking without conscious intentionality. So you have all these parts. Some are 3, some are 13, some are 30. Some are working hard to make sure I'm presentable to the world. Some are protecting the wounds. They help me with freeze and flight and fold and all of these methods to keep me safe and alive. And some are just carrying these wounds that need to be healed. They're all doing the best they can. And so then to just call that all the ego, and to say the ego is immature, it's conniving, it's manipulative, and we have to somehow figure out how to rise above it. I mean, no one that I've ever heard says we have to kill the ego, but they're definitely dismissive. And so I read these books that are like, do this affirmation to choose love over fear. Your ego's gonna fight you. And I'm like, hold on. My little parts are triggered by some of these dumb affirmations because it's ignoring their life experience. It's ignoring their pain. It's ignoring that this is the best they know how to do. It's belittling them. Instead of taking them by the hand, seeing their pain, seeing their struggles, seeing their limitations, and having compassion, and walking through those parts to something better altogether, like saying, hey, I've got something better, but listening. Why are you still stuck in this belief? Why do you have this? Where is this pain coming from? That's compassion. That's healing. And I think any spiritual system that doesn't allow for that is going to be some level of spiritual bypassing. It's true that you can retrain your brain to see love over fear. It's necessary for humanity to be able to do that in order for us to evolve out of the absolute bullshit that is happening on this planet right now. The domination, the control, the assault, the violence that is happening to the earth, that is happening to bodies, that is happening to animals, the air, everything. This massive disconnection we've had from our soul. But the only way we're going to heal that is if we go deep into our personal and collective trauma and all the burdens and all the survival protective instincts, and instead of demeaning and saying, oh, what a manipulative, immature, unnecessary, stupid, whatever it is that people use for the ego at times. I hear all these different things like, go around it, ignore it, it will fight you, just keep ignoring it. Eventually your brain is going to be trained to see the good and the true and the beautiful. And I disagree. Do not ignore the resistance you feel inside. Get curious about it. It's not bad. It's your path to healing. What is in the way is the way, right? So if you're doing a self-help book or you're listening to some guru or some spiritual teacher and they say something that triggers you, pay attention to that. Because that is some part inside of you that's calling bullshit, or that's saying, no, I might want to get there, but I don't know how. And you can't force me to do it. You have to take me by the hand. You have to listen to me. You have to see me. You have to honor me. And you have to take me by the hand so that I can get there myself. I have a part that is holding on to some big pain and issues about my body. She knows in my conversations with her that it's not ideal. She knows that she should be at a full acceptance and love of our body, but you can't make her get there. She just can't do it. She's not ready to let go of the burden of disappointment and shame that she's holding. I can't make her do it. And for me to just ignore her isn't fair. It's spiritual bypassing, and eventually we're going to have to pay the piper. So the best thing I can do if I want to heal, say, my body issue, is to meet all the parts inside of myself with their varying opinions. And there's like 3, 4, 5 different opinions inside of me about how I view and honor my body. Some of them are positive, and some of them are burdened by shame and fear, and some of them contrast and some of them agree. But I am not going to get through that by just ignoring the voices that I deem bad or immature. I have to go by the hand. And this is the difference between masculine spirituality. I'm using this very generally, by the way. Masculine spirituality focuses on intellect, focuses on the positive, focuses on the sunshine, focuses on the triumph, focuses on the glory, often by ignoring the shadow, by ignoring emotion, by ignoring the difficulty and the depths and the messiness and the chaos that we have inside of us, often demonizing that as bad, lesser, immature, instead of the very thing that we need to get in touch with to heal and become whole as human beings. So we dip down into the shadow, and then we come out and we reflect and we learn the lessons. And we dip down, and we're in this circular spiral pattern on some kind of seasonal basis. You know, it's different for all of us. But there's moments in which we come up for air, we process, we've learned something, we find some healing, we find joy, we find some peace. And then something else brings us deep down. We're ready for the next level. There are so many layers to us. We have our own personal pain that comes from this lifetime, but I guarantee you, you are carrying stuff from previous generations that could be thousands of years old. There are women in ceremony who've experienced and had to release the pain and the trauma of what has been done to women under patriarchy for the last 6,000 years. So just focusing and saying, I'm a powerful woman, all is well, isn't going to cut through the need to heal that trauma. Sometimes screaming, rage, tears has to be held and given space and utmost compassion and love in order for that to be released and healed. So the real spiritual journey sometimes looks like, yes, I'm getting better, I'm healing, I'm happy, I'm in a good place. And then 6 months later, you feel awful, you feel miserable, some memory came up, some trauma came up, some new thing just threw you down. And here's the interesting thing. A lot of these teachings that focus on affirmations, what they're trying to help us with is to not get stuck in the emotion. So there's two pitfalls. The first one, as I mentioned, is you just ignore them. Emotions are fleeting. Just ignore them. Focus on, your mind. Focus on the logic. Focus on reason, which isn't helpful, as I mentioned, because emotions are a signal of what needs to be healed. So ignoring them isn't helpful, but the other side is you go into the pit and you stay there and you don't know how to get out. You're not learning from the emotions, you're not befriending and welcoming and taking by the hand and showing compassion to, hey little buddy, what do you need in here? That would be a loving, compassionate thing to do. Oh, we're really triggered today. What's going on, buddy? What do we need? I love you. That would be a healthy way of managing the emotions. The other pitfall that we get stuck in is we get completely overwhelmed by the emotions and we don't know what to do with it. We don't know how to talk to those emotions. We don't know how to learn from them. And that gets us in a victim mentality. Poor me. And we get very trapped in there. And I've definitely experienced that, where I did not know how to meet and greet the parts within myself that were hurting so badly. So we have these two ditches. Ignore your emotions. They're coming from the ego. They're immature. They're fleeting. They come and go like waves on an ocean. Just ignore them. Or dwelling deeply, deeply, deeply in them. And we go in the middle. That, to me, is a way of honoring the human journey. You're here to learn as a human, and that includes having emotions, having good days, having bad days. This is the way to do it. The human body and emotions are so tied. To be embodied is to learn the lessons of this earth, and that involves having days that are just crappy and having days that are absolutely wonderful and learning from all of it. Every interaction with the person you have, the ones you love, the ones you hate, the ones you don't understand, the feelings that come up, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of it is learning. All of it is learning. And if we are just trying to ignore the difficult parts of that or the hard part of that, or if we're so stuck in the bad parts of that, this is where cynicism and despair comes in, and a lot of people are there. A lot of people in our world are stuck in cynicism and they're stuck in despair because the feelings are so overwhelming that it is difficult to get to them. How can we teach people to genuinely start to connect with all of that stuff inside? All the burdens, the limiting beliefs, the pains, the hurts, and just the self-knowledge of the beautiful ways you've protected yourself and navigated through this world. And not to look at any of these parts with shame, fear, guilt, condemnation, but rather to look with absolute compassion. Because living on this planet is friggin' hard. It's hard. You don't have to have a history of assault or abuse or living through war or whatever, PTSD, in order to have just days that are hard. I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone that's had a perfect sunny life, no matter how privileged they are. So this is part of our human journey. And I recommend for you compassion, compassion, compassion. Compassion for yourself. You were born in a time and a place with a given personality and a set of tools, and you're doing the best that you can. And the only way to heal is by really looking with deep love and grace at all of these little parts of yourself with so much friggin' compassion. Like, imagine looking back on yourself when you were 8 years old. Do you honestly judge yourself for anything you did when you were 8? Of course not. You're like, dude, I couldn't even think complexly. I couldn't see the gray. Life was black and white. My brain could only see the world in such a limited scope. I responded the best that I could with what I had. Exactly. And you're doing the same thing now. And so when you're like 90, maybe you'll look back on this time of your life and you're like, sweet summer child. Oh, what you were going through and what you didn't know. I have so much friggin' compassion for that. Imagine when you're in heaven looking back on your whole life, you'll be like, wow, what a trip. I literally was doing the best that I could at every given moment. And we're all on a completely different journey. We're all here with different lessons to learn. But the one thing we have in common is that we have been given this, our personalities, our parts, our ego, and it's not a bad thing. And there's a way we can use that, all of that, as a way to further our healing. So if it works for you, fine. Ignore everything I'm saying. But if what you're doing works, fine. If saying an affirmation, I am love, I am without fear, I am, strong and capable, if that works for you, awesome. But if you're like me and something in you calls bullshit when you try to say these affirmations, check in. Hey, honey, what is it? Tell me. How you feeling? How you feeling, buddy? What do you need? Tell me the truth. What's going on? And listen with compassion and grace. I know I'm starting to repeat myself, so I'm going to end it here. This just hit me so strongly, and I needed to share this, and I really, really hope it helps you a little bit. Okay, peace out.